Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Carlton People. Today, I've got Zach. We actually know Zach. Zach's been around for a while, but we've never done a Carlton People episode. Mate, this is it. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I can't wait to have a chat.
We can't wait to hear about your story, mate. We
Thank
were
you.
talking a little bit off camera. At the time of filming, you're about to finish year 12. So
Yep.
that means
Almost there.
you have seen a version of the Carlton Football Club that I kind of have as well, even though that I'm over 10 years older than you. But, mate, tell me, how did you become a Carlton supporter?
Well, for me, it's the classic migration story. So my dad's dad migrated to here in the 1960s, I think. And yeah, they lived literally across the road from Icon Park. And when my dad was in his teen years, he knew the doorman at Icon Park, and he just said, "What is this?" Because he was foreign, and he went in and he didn't know much English, and all the English he knew was just like, "Oh, Cuda, Diesel." That was all the English he knew, just Carlton names, and that was how it kind of got started.
No way. And then everyone in the family since has been a Carlton supporter?
And then basically everyone on this side of the family is all Carlton supporters.
That's so
Just all
cool.
diehards, yeah.
Where did he migrate from?
Lebanon.
From Lebanon.
Yeah.
Wow. There you go. And so, any outliers? Anyone that's tried to leave the Carlton story?
Look, my younger brother, back when Hawthorne were kind of doing their thing, he was kind of getting a bit jealous. But I was like, you know what? Maybe stick around. Maybe you'll reap the rewards in a few years. And I don't want to jinx anything, but maybe soon.
Maybe soon. So, what's your first memory?
My first memory was probably my first game that I ever went to, which is I think it was like 2012 or 2011 against Adelaide, and it was at Etihad, and we lost, we got thumped, and then surprise. And then a few weeks later,
Surprise.
a few weeks later, I think it was the elimination final against Richmond, and that was probably my first game at the MCG that I went to, and that was where it all started. I was like, this is really cool, because I was never really into footy really young, maybe like 6 or 7. I probably started.
So that 2013 elimination final was the one that really got your attention?
That was what got my attention. That was what was like, if the footy was on, I had to watch it. Before it was like, oh, that's cool. But since then I had to. I was like, this is so cool. Everything about it. And you know why, everyone knows why, but yeah, it was just, it was crazy.
It's the crowd. It's the way in which the fan, for me anyway, what hooked me was going to a game, and it wasn't a final, but it was just the way in which the supporters get around it on game day. There's like an electricity about game day that I haven't really seen in many other sports.
It's just crazy. I think for us especially, we're like one big family, 90,000 strong family. It's like everyone is thinking the same thing. Everyone's doing the same thing. Everyone's, they're feeling the same moment at the same time as well. So it's like, you're in this together. You're part of it, no matter how old or young you are.
Yeah.
And as I've grown up, I can see it better and remember it better as well. So it's so good.
How did you go? I mean, you touched on your brother. He was potentially going to move to Hawthorne.
Yeah.
I find with a younger generation and in a world where we don't have patience like we used to, and I think growing up as well, you go for the team that's good. You go for the team that's winning. You want to be the best. How did you deal with what happened after 2013?
Oh, look, it's a family thing. Honestly, there was no way I was ever going to change. Everyone goes for Carlton, as I said. It was so, ingrained from like basically all my family. It was like there was no way I was ever going to do anything else, or anyone in my family for that matter is ever going to change, or there was just no way. It was Carlton.
Yeah, right.
That was it for the highs and lows.
Did you latch on to players early on, or were you?
I did. Yeah, heavily. Like the popular ones, obviously Juddy back then. Because when I used to watch footy, especially as a young kid, you kind of get bored a bit if things aren't happening. But when he had the ball, 1 tackle, no, he was still going. 2 tackles, he was still going. 3 tackles, and he just kept going, and that hooked me as a kid. And then Chris Yaron for me, in his prime, and that guy was just running, and he just wouldn't stop, and he was so fast, and he would kick goals as well. So that was those two probably back then.
Yeah, right. And then, fast forward a bit more pain. I think I met
Yeah.
you. When did I meet you? Like 2020, 2021-ish?
Yeah, it was 2021. I think the first fan cam I went on was the Adelaide game when they had when the roof was open and 3 goals down at the start. I think it was that game. That was my first fan cam. Yeah, but I started watching probably the week before that was when we lost to the Waffle team. That was my first. Yeah, that was not fun. Not a fun introduction. But
Yeah.
so that was when I got introduced to this channel as a whole, and then I went on fan cams then.
Yeah. So we've gone from your experience, you've gone from, you catch your memory kicks in when you catch the very end of the, we'll call it the previous, I don't know,
Yeah,
rebuild, we'll call it.
yeah.
Then we go through, the new rebuild, 2015, we go to the draft, pick all the boys up. Then we get to like 18, 19, 20, 21, still not happening.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're filming this at the end of 2023 where we've played in a prelim, which we'll touch on. But like from that 20, 21, 22 period, like how did you hold on? Like, how did you experience it? Because I remember you were writing the website. So I remember we were working.
Yeah. It was literally this channel. I'm not even going to lie. Because back, 2018, 19, when I hadn't found this channel or any Carlton social media for that matter, I was just kind of like, all right, on to next week, see what happens. But after the loss or the win or after whatever the game was, you could come here and listen to people dissect it to why, how, what next. And, it actually makes the game day. Yes, it might have been a loss back then, but it made it more like, oh, we might be building to something or something might happen soon enough. So that was it was interesting for me because I never really thought about it that way. It was like loss, done, rolled away, move on. But it's not like that when you have this.
True. I mean, we're talking about it every day. There's something new every day.
Literally.
You're clearly in a generation where you were born into technology. There's I think you would be the first generation where I think all you can remember, like from the time you were young, like you remember having tech and social media and all these things, right? Yeah. See, I'm the last generation before the iPhone, so I was like 16 when iPhone came out. So I'm like on either side, but you're like the first generation where it was everything, right? Yeah. So how do you in, only you can really answer this. How does your generation absorb sport content? Like, how do you enjoy it? How do you watch the game?
Honestly, I think the generation as a whole, like that I'm in, I guess the generation as a whole, everything's really quick. You see a clip on Twitter, oh, that's what happened. You see something on Instagram, oh, that's what happened. A video or, a little, like a snippet or something. You're not really going to go on a massive article, read the whole thing, and then, make an opinion or a judgment. It's always quick. It's always what comes to you. So besides the game, which is, 2 hours or so, that's probably what my generation makes the judgment on, like little clips.
Do you go to many games?
I've gone to most. Probably since I've got a bit older, I've gone to most. But before, when I was younger, not really. But I had no idea why. It's the best thing. It's honestly, I used to think it was kind of the same TV or in the ground, but it's just unmatched. Unmatched. Just insane.
Well, we get to 2023.
Yes.
What do you make of it?
Honestly,
what do you make of what's happened?
I just knew it was going to be an interesting year from the draw. I just knew, oh God, this is not going to be linear. This is going to be something very interesting, very different. I can't wait to see what it's going to be. Because the draw was like, oh, okay, what now? Like, what do we do? That was not what was planned. Either, like, had we have lost that game, oh, they've learned nothing. Had we have won that game, you can rise. But it was just a draw. So it's like, what now? And it was just like, what do we? What's the plan? And then the rest of the year, was the writing was on the wall, I guess, for the rest of the year.
What do you think is from everything you've watched? What's your opinion on the turnaround and how do you see the club now? Like, what's your take?
Oh, look, after that Essendon loss, which is infamous now, I was kind of like, no, like, this can't be it. This can't be the death, or the death of the core group. This can't be the end. Like, it just, there's no reason for it to be happening. It's round 13, and then the Gold Coast game. Then obviously we went up. I was thinking, there's still half the season to go. Like, let's just see what we can do. Let's just, I mean, don't get me wrong, I was still really pissed, but it's like there's a little bit of hope, I think. A little bit of hope from what I saw last year. I was like, what I saw last year, that Sydney game, that's not just for nothing. Like, they didn't have that and they're going to go straight back down. It's just not. I just didn't think that was how it was going to work. And then thankfully I was right in the end. But to say I saw it coming would be wrong. I was just kind of more hoping.
What was more of a shock, the hole or the turnaround?
Oh, that's a great question. Probably the whole. Looking back on it, like the fact that our season is two halves again. One good, one one not good, compared to last year when it was the good. The fact that we've had another season like that. I just thought we'll just be cruising through, pick up a loss, loss here and there, and just have a decent season. But no, you can't do anything stress free with this. So it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it's so funny. I think before 2023, a lot of us, we only had like a handful of games that we would latch onto. So you mentioned Sydney, round 10, 2022. We'll always remember it because that was the best that we had seen for however long. Whereas I think 23 was the first year for a lot of us where it's like there's probably genuinely 5 or 6, maybe 7 games this year where you're like, I want to watch that again and again and again. So we don't have to we don't have to rely on 1 or 2 games in a year to make us happy. Like we were lucky in the end to get what we got. What was the best? What's your best experience as a supporter?
Okay, so it's funny because if we were recording this a year ago, there would be very, very few moments. But now, honestly, it's both Melbourne games this year for me. Obviously, the semi because of Blake Acres. That's just, I've never ever heard anything like that. Like, we were sitting in a row. There was this elderly woman next to me, and we were jumping up and down. And it was like, that's what Carlton is about. And the noise and everything. It was just like time froze, and it was like, wow, what's going on? But for me, even better than that, and I said this on the fan cams after the game, was when we beat them with the touch, the infamous touch. I think it was around 22 or 21. It was, the game before. Because obviously I told you a year before that, on my birthday, Cozzy Pickett broke the hearts of everyone. And I was like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. And then I saw it on the fixture this year, and I'm like, we have to go to that. It has to be the revenge. And thank God it was. It was like we won the grand final. It was just this massive relief. A year later, I was like, oh, thank God. Thank God that happened.
What does it mean for the long term? I mean, we're going to watch this video many years to come.
Yeah.
What do you think this year means for the long term of the club?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. I think we talked for so long. And, when I first started watching, I think the conversation was about role players, the bottom 6, are they contributing? That was the conversation. This season, I think you've actually seen not just role players, but everyone actually contribute. Not having the best and then, not the best. It's everyone on the same level contributing. And I think that's massive. That's massive. Like if you can get someone like Cripper having 20 disposals, but feeding it out to these tricky midfielders, then you know what? It's actually going to be really good for the long-term benefit of the club. So that's really important, I think. Just all these young guys. Like Ollie Hollands is his first year. If this was a few years ago and we were losing, we said, I'll give him some time, he'll grow into it. But he's already grown into it based off the environment that he's in, which is the best thing I think that I've seen this year. And it can propel us.
Do you have any favorites now that you watch?
I love Jordan Boyd.
Yeah?
He's my boy. He's I don't know what it is. I think it was that Richmond game last year in the rain when we lost. I thought that was the best game I've ever seen for anyone for so long. And I was like, this kid might be all right. So I know he's not a mainstay in the team, but hopefully next year he can get a good run of games injury free. That would be huge, I think.
I actually love that answer. Usually it's the usual. You're going to get the usual names when I ask that question. So that's good.
Yeah,
so what's the state of What's the state of the list in your view? Are we ready to go? Is
I think so.
is there a window open now for a premiership?
I think so. I think it has to happen now. Not just based off age, but just based off experience of the players at the age. Like, you got all the players from the 2015 draft, mid-20s. I don't think we're ready to go based on the fact that they're 25, 26. I think we're ready to go by the fact they've played, 100 odd games, 150 odd games. They've played 2 finals now. I think they know
3.
They know what it's about. 3, sorry, yes. They know what it's about. So, I think they can propel from the experiences. Because I remember the narrative was, if we're in close situations for longer and we lose, they'll learn from it. But if you actually win, then you learn how to win. And I think that was huge for all those guys, not just in the core group, but just everyone.
Yeah. What's missing? What's next?
Look, I really don't know. I'm still digesting what happened, to be honest. But I think we all are. But just consistency. I don't want to be too picky on when the wins come. But if you're having a back half and a front half, or vice versa, like the last 2 years, it's a bit iffy. It's like you don't really know where the team is. But if we just have a consistent season, the losses are going to come. That's inevitable. But if we can just have a consistent season and just, play our brand and just be ourselves for the whole season, I think that's big, like really big for us.
Final question.
Yep.
Which year is the year that we lift up the cup?
You know what? Why not 2024? That's what I'm saying. Why not 2024? I mean, I hope. I mean, it's more of a hope, but it's like you keep going up, I guess. I mean, success isn't linear. I know that, but you keep going up. You get to the prelim, they're so close, and then 2022, they were so close to just the finals, and they've eclipsed, I think, what we thought they were going to do. So if you're so close to the grand final, the next thing you're probably going to do is get there. So I think just based on our winning in close games, being professional, it could. I actually think it really could happen, because I'm looking at all the other teams next year. Brisbane, Melbourne. Like, I think we can probably pass those teams based on what we've seen, based on based on what we've seen.
Mate, I love it. Well, it's been a pleasure to have you a part of the Carlton People series. Mate, it's good to have connected with you all those years back, and I look forward to watching just good times, just like happy times moving forward.
No more therapy.
No more therapy. But if we need it, we know where to go.
Exactly. That's the beauty of it.
Love it. Love it. Good on you, Zach. Go Blues.
Have a good one.